So 2 years ago, I officially graduated with a bachelor's degree in 3D animation and visual effects for film, and 2 years later, I still don't have a job in the industry. But more than that, when I reached that stage, I didn't even realize that I was not prepared. So if you're thinking about going to school for 3D animation or visual effects, I think it's worth having a really honest conversation. When I finished school, I didn't even realize that my portfolio was not up to industry standard. And the worst part was, I didn't even really know what that standard was. So if you do decide to go to school, which I'm not like 100%, I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. This is for people that like they're leaning towards, yes, I'm going to school for 3D animation. If you do decide that, you have to choose very carefully. Don't just look at marketing, look at alumni portfolios, look at where the graduates actually end up. Because if a program isn't pushing you from day one towards production level work, you can easily graduate feeling completely lost and unprepared for the industry. All of this being said, a 3D program is highly dependent on what you put into it. If you're going to school for this, you cannot afford to be passive. Talk to your instructors, ask questions, go to events, go to a lot of events, and meet people and build relationships. Learn beyond the curriculum, that one's important. Always make personal projects outside of your schoolwork. Use those years to experiment, make mistakes, and get as much feedback as possible while you're surrounded by people who can help you grow, because those years go by so much faster than you think, and once you graduate, nobody is going to hand you a roadmap. A lot of your growth becomes more self-directed. Looking back, I started university when I was 18, and I was starting my application when I was 17. I was just a teenager, and it was also during a much more optimistic time for the industry, especially in my city specifically. There seemed to be like way more opportunities, and I don't think many of us expected how much the landscape would change by the time we graduated. But even with that in hindsight, there are still plenty of things I would do differently. I would have started networking earlier. I would have paid more attention to industry standards, and I'm talking like beyond what software they use in like different companies. I would have treated portfolio development way more seriously, and I would have started it earlier on. If you're thinking about this career path, I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm more so trying to encourage people to go into it with their eyes open, especially if you're young and thinking about going into this. And if you're a student or a recent graduate, honestly, I'd love to genuinely know what your experience has been. It might be completely different from mine, which is totally okay. I would just love to hear other people's perspectives.